So we believe getting this table is going to actually move us up to a 1% compliance rate, which to me talks about what the real core of the problem is. And that is that people don't understand the use tax. And to give them a table, and even our best suggestion at that point is this will move us to a 1% compliance rate. It seems to me doesn't answer the core issue, and that is people don't understand. They don't understand what their obligations are, why they have obligations there. On top of that, then we have the qualified purchaser program. That was put in place. We did a few 100,000 letters last year, and just did 200,000 more or something in that regard for those businesses that have a $100,000 gross income. And again, we estimated in 2010 that we were going to collect $81 million, and we received $24 million. So again, a lot of, and that was going back 3 years that people could do that. I tried to get figures for this year's, and we haven't been able to because somehow we've blended information. And so up to January, well, actually, the budget for this particular year is $183 million that we're supposed to collect with the qualified purchasers. Up to January, we'd only received $2.4 million. I asked yesterday if I could get an updated figure and was told, well, now our numbers are all blended together and we can't pull out individual figures anymore. It's going to take us a few weeks to do that now. So we don't even know right now how successful this program has been. Actually, it's really not a level of success. It's a level of failure in regards to the amount of dollars that we have. And the big issue there is people are responding. It's just that most of them all put 0. Now, that's compliance. It's 0. You may not believe that they're doing it correctly, but they are complying, and they are putting 0 at that point. And then, and of course, then on that particular issue, it's an e-file that has to be done by April 15th. Now, we have other ways that people have to collect or can do their use tax filing, and that's where we really get confusing with people because they can use certain forms now that have dates of January 31st due dates. And in fact, we have an instruction that we had that said it was due on June 31st in one place, and another place in that same material said April 15th. So the unfortunate issue was that during that same period of time, we were collecting penalties from people, even though we had an April 15th due date. Even though people who filed on March 1st could have filed on April 15th, we sent them a penalty. We created a penalty for them if they did it on March 1st.
Many of which we're relieving.
What's that?
Many of which we're relieving.
Well, I've asked for them all to be relieved.
Yeah.
And I was told that we can't do that. So I think, I don't know why we would do some of them. We ought to do all of them.
Mr. Renner, I'm just looking at the hour. Do you have a view about the proposal before us?
Well, I want to, again, yes, in the context of the total discussion of use tax. Because, again, I think we have to be able to deal with use tax in the success of us helping people understand use tax. And my opinion is that having a table, even our estimates at the success of putting a table in, is a 1% compliance rate. So my point would be the table clearly isn't done correctly, or it doesn't help us with compliance. And in conclusion, I think what our goal should be is this board needs to figure out a way to adequately educate people on their use tax requirements and the law. And I think the challenge that we have with use tax, and again, if there's been lots of articles written about use tax and the issues and who should pay it. And I'll tell you, one of the most fascinating issues for me is when you see one of those articles, is read the comments after the articles. Read the comments that the readers are saying. Because, see, here's our problem. Our problem is people don't even think they owe it. Because they have this philosophy that says, they have a thing that says, oh, the Internet's tax-free. They don't understand the issue between the difference between a transaction tax that they have and a tax on the Internet. And as a result of that, they think that there shouldn't be a tax and that this is a new tax. They don't understand the implication of the use tax and their responsibilities at that point. I believe it's an obligation if we're going to be successful at increasing the amount of use tax collection, one of our primary responsibilities should be the education of that, of helping people understand. And that means not sending them a notice. Believe me, education by sending people who earn gross $100,000 and say you now owe a use tax is an education. But you still don't know why. So I'm concerned that what we're doing is doing these piecemeal approaches that are going to get us very little real money in the door, that we've missed by far the targets that we've even set for these. And so those are my concerns.